Hi, hello to everyone. Welcome to another show. We still have four last 16 matches to analyze with Alvaro Romeo, Daniele Fisichella, and Alain Valnegri. How are you guys?
Oh, good, Joe.
Very well.
Hello, guys.
Good to hear you. Good to hear you all, guys. So let's start with this thought. I don't know if you will agree, but if the group stage was the opportunity for surprises and big disappointments, the last 16 so far is for the favorites to do their job. Netherlands, Argentina, France, and England have all confirmed a place in the last 8 with convincing performances. Of course, some more than others, but convincing, I will say, nevertheless. Also, I don't know if now a draw at halftime is a safe bet anymore, because now everyone is finding the net in the first half. It is looking like, guys, but still 4 games we have ahead, which all look a little bit more trickier, I would say, than the ones before. Can Japan continue the World Cup of shocks? Can Neymar's return inspire Brazil? Is Portugal a bar too high for Switzerland to break the last 16 course? Which Spain we are going to see, the one that play against Costa Rica and Germany, or the one against Japan? Everything to talk and everything to see. I will start with you, Alvaro. The first game we are going to analyze is Japan against Croatia. Croatia favorites here, 2.14 for the win. Japan 4.3. Any teams, Alvaro, that beats the 2010 and 2014 world champions in one tournament deserves a place in the knockout stage. But can you see Japan continuing this amazing World Cup for them?
They are going to make it difficult for Croatia. I think that this is going to happen. That said, I believe that Croatia has a know-how, and they have proven it over the last 5 years in various tournaments. World Cup 2018, even Euro 2020, and especially Nations League 2021. Croatia is one of the safest teams in Europe in terms of what you expect from them is what you get from them. So normally they are very stable. But Japan has been fantastic in this World Cup. One thing that I expect is Croatia to dominate the ball, and Japan not to have it. In fact, Japan has had a 32.3 possession in Qatar so far, which is something that gives you a hint about what their style is about. But I think Japan is going to be very happy to be the underdog again. They have shown that they are comeback material, remontada material, as they did against Germany and Spain. They scored 2 goals against the Spanish side, 2 goals against Germany. That's why maybe going for both teams to score here is not too crazy. Both teams to score pace 199, and I think that given the fact that Japan has been able to score 4 in 2 games against Spain and Germany, maybe this is a possibility. But I will back strongly some other markets. One thing that I really would like to say about Japan is the fact that the manager, Hajime Moriyasu, has shown a certain ability for in-game management. In fact, Japan has scored 4 goals in the World Cup, and 3 of them have come from the subs, from players who started the game on the bench. A special mention to Doan, a player who has scored already 2 goals in the World Cup. Defender Ko Itakura is suspended for the game. I guess that Tomiyasu will start. And Kubo has a muscle issue, so he may not feature. When it comes to Croatia, well, they have been unbeaten for 9 games. They have 2 clean sheets in the World Cup, although it must be said that Romelu Lukaku was too forgiving with the Croatian side, that's for sure. Let's agree on that. And Luka Modric will have to be very careful because he's been shown a yellow already, and another yellow will make him miss the quarterfinal. For this game, I'm going to go for plain and simple Croatia to win. That doubles up your bet. I like this one. But if you think that this is perhaps a little bit too much, why not to think on Croatia to qualify, which is a fantastic safe bet. Croatia to qualify after 120 minutes, for example, or after 90 minutes, that pays 153.
That's a good one. I think I like it, Alvaro. I don't know what do you think, Alain? What kind of Japan are we gonna see? The Japan of the first halves, or the Japan that change everything? And also, Why is Mitoma not starting, the guy who plays for Brighton?
Yes, it's one of the questions. What about the level of Kamada? Is not the Kamada from Eintracht Frankfurt. I think Japan have personality problem in the first half, because we saw a Japan really conservative, and when they received a goal, they found that freedom to play and put a little more of craziness of the game. And against Croatia is really dangerous to foil one half, because Croatia is really competitive. I think the middle of the center is the best in this World Cup. Modric, Kovacic, and Brozovic have experience, have control of the game. Croatia miss the Mandzukic of 2018. Right now, they don't have a super bomber to score the game and what create the team. I saw Croatia in the aggressivity point with something more. I think Japan can be suffer that, and I saw Croatia winning the first half. At the end of the first half, Croatia winning odds 2.75.
Because as Leo said before, now in the last few games we saw lot of goals scored in first halves. Maybe now is when the bar is higher, teams try to push a little bit more. But certainly, Alain, I do agree with you. Croatia seem to have all the tricks in the books. They got a lot of experience, players who've been through a lot of tournaments, and that could be proven to be decisive. A little bit of lineup news: Doan should start, Asano should start. Croatia go and change, and since they put Livaja up top alongside Kramaric, I think they found more threat as well, because in the first game against Morocco they played without a striker. And then of course, if you look at the midfield of Croatia, they complement each other very, very well with Brozovic, Modric, and of course Kovacic. The only doubt I got for Croatia is if Japan are able to test and stretch Lovren, which we know is not one of the most mobile, but is helped by Guardiola, who's been an outstanding defender. For me, it's Croatia to qualify. I think rather could be extra time as well, but I'm going to put over 1.5 goals. So I do agree with you. Both to score could be a good idea. Croatia to qualify over 1.5 goals. That pays 226. Quickly, guys, do you think is an over or an under game, Alvaro?
I don't have an opinion. I would say that both teams to score is something that I would rather than both teams to score no. And I think the money is better there. Both teams to score pays 2. So yeah, maybe that answers your question. I think that in this case, the good value, the good price that you can find in both teams to score, it's a deal breaker for me.
Alain?
Yes, I think from the beginning of this 18th final, something changed in the percent of the finalization. I think we saw that from the beginning of the 18 finals, and I think today it would be the same. Now is so important. Maybe the grade of concentration is different, and I think we will be so goals today.
One thing, Daniele, though, that I would like to say is that in the first set of last 16 round, we have seen France, England, teams with strikers who are deadly. I think that in this second set, perhaps the only side who has deadly strikers is Brazil, or deadly finishers, forwards. But Spain, Croatia, even Switzerland or Portugal, if Cristiano Ronaldo is not scoring well, perhaps they don't have such deadly players. So perhaps going to the individual market in this second set of game is not the best idea.
Okay, Croatia pays 34 to be the winner, Japan 81 to be the winner, but Brazil are the favorites, 3.40 to be the winners. And now, obviously, we're going to talk about the other game on Tuesday, which is Brazil, South Korea. Brazil lost to Cameroon 1-0. Very unusual for a South American team to lose against an African. Actually, before Brazil, it was Senegal who lost to, so it was Ecuador who lost to Senegal, and then you have to go back to Italia 90 for Cameroon to beat both Argentina and Colombia. So obviously, it will be taken as a shame, I think, for Brazil to lose against Cameroon. Let's see how they react. of course. It was a match change Brazil. Let's see if Neymar is back. We got Leo back as well. So let's go back to you, Leo. First, we were talking about Brazil. How do you think they're going to approach this one? Of course, after that bit of a shameful defeat against Cameroon.
Yeah, first of all, yeah, sorry guys for my technical difficulties. And yes, now Brazil, at least, although they presented, no, I believe you may have mentioned already, a completely changed 11 against Cameroon, and they added more worries with Gabriel Jesus and Alex just now out of the World Cup. Having Neymar back, as Tite said yesterday regarding the match against South Korea tonight, that should massive lift. But when you look at the last 5 World Cup games for Brazil, Mexico and Belgium last World Cup, and then we have Serbia and Cameroon, still have now gone 5 World Cup matches without scoring in the first half. Would you, Danny, see this changing now that we are seeing last 16 games where teams, the favorites, are starting to score in the first half?
Potentially, because I do think even in the first half against Cameroon a bit less, but also against Serbia and against Switzerland, Brazil did create chances. Okay, it was a game of patience for them, and I think that should be also considered like a strength, knowing when the chances are going to come. Look, the return on Neymar is so important, because I think the fact that Neymar comes in helps freeing the wingers, helps Paquetá doing his job a little bit better, and should galvanize the team. They have a little bit more of pressure, though. I think they need to start the game strongly, because that defeat against Cameroon will add pressure on Tite and Brazil. So I could expect them starting on the front foot. To be fair, the Korean defense hasn't really impressed me so far. They looked a bit leaky. They look a bit static. Okay, against Portugal, they did win it in the end, but also I think Portugal kind of threw themselves forward a bit too much in the end. You can tell it wasn't really a too competitive game for them. So I think Korea probably of these 8, the out of 8 teams, probably is the weakest one that Brazil could have faced. And I think, Brazil could start strongly. Danilo and Militao get back fullbacks. I like the idea of Tite of covering himself a little bit more with Militao, so that Rafinha can go forward a little bit more. And then obviously, the strength in depth helped by Neymar. But this is a Brazil that has scored little goals. It's a Brazil that has not thrashed anybody yet. I'm going to go here for an Asian handicap plus 175 for Korea, which pays 195, which means if Brazil wins by 1 goal margin, you win. If they draw at 90 minutes, of course, you win. But if Brazil wins by 2 goals margin, you're going to get half your stake back. You only lose half your stake. Look at what Argentina, it was a win in the end, but not that clear. So it could be a similar pattern, maybe.
Alvaro, after 2 very convincing games for Brazil in terms of defense against Serbia and Switzerland, then Cameroon managed to score against them, and at times they look shaky. Although, again, I repeat, they changed the 11 players for that game. But could you see South Korea scoring here? Because both teams to score are at 2.45 for this Brazil-South Korea.
Good question, Leo. But my favorite thought for this game is a win 2-0 for Brazil. So I think that cancels everything. That pays 183. Yes, and it's very good, I think, because look, Brazil has scored very few goals actually in this World Cup, only 3. Those who don't follow Brazil will have expected them to score like as many as Spain or England. But those who follow Brazil, we do know that Brazil is about defending first, and they conceded only 1, but they conceded in that game in which they didn't play for so much, and Tite rotated massively, and some of the players, I think that they took the chance. Like, for example, Gabriel Martinelli, I think that he did a good job. And
Yes.
some others, it's not that they wasted their chance, but unfortunately for them, their World Cup campaign is over. Like, for example, Gabriel Jesus or even 𝐿𝐿𝐽𝐽𝐻. Gabriel Jesus is going to be out for 3 months. So Brazil doesn't have so much depth right now. But Brazil has never been with Tite about adventure, about risk. It's more about being solid, staying solid, and win solid. And so far they have done it when they have to do it. And I think that here they are going to do it. That's why I'm going to back a win 2-0. All that said, I think that South Korea did a very good job in their group. And in my opinion, the best individual action of this World Cup, and I don't know if you agree with me, was Son against Portugal in the last minute of the game. I know that Mbappe has scored beautiful goals. I know that we have seen lovely actions by many players, but the best individual action of the whole World Cup has been Son providing that assist to 𝐿𝐭𝐴 for that goal, because he was surrounded by 4 Portuguese players, because he kept the ball until the last second. Under pressure, that is not easy. And then he provided the pass, and there was no offside. He waited, and he gave the pass in the right time. For me, that is the individual action of the World Cup. But as I said, a win 2-0 for Brazil, 183. And there is a variation of that I could back as well here. And it goes a little bit against what you both have been saying, which is Brazil to win the first half. I know that they have started slowly, but the money is there. That pays 183 as well.
So for everyone then, of course, Brazil favorite, not really. Maybe South Korea inflicting some damage on Brazil's defense.
Yeah, I think so. But let's see. Look, the thing is that it is 32 years since Brazil was knocked out in the last
𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐽𝐻 16
round. 𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐽𝐻's goal, exactly. Leo, you remember
𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐽𝐻.
well. I don't think that this time that's going to happen. I just don't see Brazil losing to Korea Republic. I just don't think that this is very likely to happen. But the odds are so low for Brazil to win that you have to explore some other markets. That's why my exploration tells me maybe a clean sheet or Brazil winning 2-0 is the right one. But I don't know. Daniele has different ideas, or maybe Alain as well.
Alain, I don't know if you mentioned anything when I was out with technical problems, but do you expect goals in here? And if you expect goals, do you expect them to come all from Brazil side?
Yes, I expect goals, because Brazil is the team who is more shot in the target from the beginning of the competition. They have the problem with the concrete, what create the team. The team create maybe their found problem or difficulty against Switzerland, but every team have problem with Switzerland, because it is an horrible team to play against. But the second part of Brazil against Serbia was brilliant. The frequency of the finalization was really high. With that rhythm, with that Neymar, I think Brazil today will be start to concrete what the team creates. The biggest problem of Brazil are the defender back. If we saw in the history the name of right back and left back, and we saw the right back and left back this year, wow, the difference is unbelievable. Is unbelievable, and for especially for that type of game, when do you found a team really defensive? The back are the keys to open the defense of the opposite. But in spite of that, I think with Neymar back, the team will be found again the goal over 2.75 goals, odds 2.01.
Here, Marco Polo says Brazil will show its real face today. David, he says, easy win for Brazil. Don't complicate it. We all expect, of course, a Brazilian win in here. The only thing I would say, Alain, which I agree with you, of course, when you compare the left backs and the right backs that Brazil used to have before, is that today they don't need them. With such good wingers, you don't even need them. Or at least you need them to stay focused in defense, to make it life easier for Casemiro when he needs to cover the the wingers. But nowadays, I would say they don't even need them. So then from Brazil, guys, from Brazil, South Korea, with the Brazilian side being massive favorites, we go to one which I'm really looking forward. This should be a very interesting match, and I'm referring to Morocco against Spain. I will start with you, Alvaro. I think you correct me if I'm wrong, but before the tournament, anyone would have suggested that the last 16 for Spain was to be against Morocco and not Croatia or Belgium. And Spain was going to avoid the quarterfinal clash with Brazil. Everyone would have said, well, that looks good news. But having seen Morocco so far, their intensity, their verticality mixed with being comfortable in possession, their desire, for sure now the respect is higher than before the World Cup started. And then let's not forget Russia 2018 game which finished 2-2 with the Aspas equalizing for Spain. Which type of game are you expecting here?
That's the thing, Leo, that what you said is spot on, and Morocco has been very good at their mix of physicality and technique. It's really commendable as well. I think that this is something that caught my attention straight away, that it's not only the technical ability of some players that we all know, but also Morocco has been very physical, and they shut the door when they need it, leaving clean sheets against the likes of Belgium or Croatia, which is really good. In fact, Morocco has had 6 clean sheets in the last 7 games, which gives you a little bit of a hint of what they are about right now. But the thing is that they are playing against Spain, and I've seen this so many times. I mean, when a side plays against Spain, it changes dramatically. Number one, because maybe they want to change dramatically. They know that if they defend very tight, Spain is going to suffer. And number two, because Spain makes you look like this. I remember in the World Cup qualification, the likes of Switzerland, the likes of Greece, and in the previous World Cup, the likes of Poland, Slovakia, and many more sides. In the previous games, we saw them having some game patterns. We saw them attacking some of them. We saw them playing in a certain way. Italy in the Euro, and suddenly Spain makes you play in a certain way. Makes you change completely. It doesn't mean that Spain is going to beat you. No, this is the problem for Spain, that Spain is dominant, but that doesn't always translate into victories or easy wins. But I think that Morocco, this game, we're going to see them not having a lot of the possession, having to defend with a deep block, and Spain keeping the most of the ball, like in the second half against Japan. But the second half against Japan was concerning because Spain had the ball, but they didn't produce shots on target. They didn't attack Japan with a constant sequence of attackings. No, Spain doesn't do that, and this is the main problem of my country when it comes to facing opposition. Anyway, Spain is a little bit difficult to read. All that said, because they have won 7-0, they have drawn 1-1, and then they lost 2-1. But personally, for this game, when it comes to the odds, I would focus more on the final outcome than the numbers of the result. Let me explain this. I think that Spain is going to win. And this is going to be my only bet, 162. But I wouldn't bet on Asian handicaps or clean sheets or anything like this, because Spain doesn't have patterns. Their strikers, sometimes they have a good day and they score 7. Some other days they can't score a single goal. Same thing applies to the defense. Morata has scored 3 goals. We don't know if he's going to start or not. Maybe not. So I think that I know that Spain is not going to rotate much. The lineup is going to resemble the lineup they field against Costa Rica or Germany. That's more or less for granted. But I will focus just on the plain result, not the numbers of the result. Spain to win, 162.
Danny, do you think that the defeat against Japan has changed things for Spain? Or it's just we should look at it as an accident in the third match of the group, and we shouldn't take too much out from that?
I think when there is not too much at stake for a team, especially in the third game, it is difficult to ask them to perform or overperform. You know, after all, they were only eliminated for those 12 minutes. But it is difficult to read too much. Luis Enrique made a lot of changes. He gave some full debuts from the start to a couple of players. I think he's going to return to his trusted formation. The only doubt, I think, is whether 𝐿𝐵𝐿 or Carvajal plays in the Morata up top, but pretty much we do know what are Spain's strengths and also where are the weaknesses. It is a team that it is still young. It is a team that plays with a very clear mentality, a way of playing. They do have mistakes on them. Sometimes they overplay. Sometimes the possession doesn't come too much. But it's a team that when it clicks, and when they are in transition and they do quick transition, they showed us some of the best football alongside with France so far in the World Cup. Morocco is an underdog. I think I've said it before the World Cup. They were the best African team by far. They got up to 20 players who play in European leagues, and some at very good levels. I've liked a lot Amrabat, who plays for Fiorentina in the midfield. He's everywhere. He covers a lot of ground. He's a lot of legs. He's a really, really good players. And then if you look at the fullbacks, Marzouki and Hakimi, probably the best set of fullbacks in the World Cup, although Marzouki obviously has to play a left back because they are both right-footed, but to accommodate them both. It is a team that is good in possession, is comfortable on the ball, has got an excellent keeper in Bono. It's gonna create problems to Spain, but of course, history says Spain, pedigree says Spain. Morocco haven't been there pretty much at all in the knockout stages of a World Cup. I think only once, so these might have an impact as well. But I think it's going to be a goals game. I think Spain are going to score a couple. Morocco could contribute to the scoring as well. And we've seen a few overs recently in the knockout. Over 2.25 plays 2.12. So if there is only 2 goals in the game, you get half your money back. More than 2 goals in the game, of course, you win 2.12.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. That I expect at least a game with goals and actually maybe from both sides. Goals for 2.25, as Danny said, is at 2.05. Alain, so far between Morocco and Spain, they have picked up only 3 yellow cards between them. Shall we expect here anyway a much more fierce encounter, taking into account that what is at stake, which is a place in the quarterfinals?
For Spain, I am not surprised. For Morocco, yes, because it's another type of football. It's more physical, it's more aggressive. Now, Morocco, in my opinion, was one of the most brilliant team of in the group stage. It was probably the hardest group with the group of Spain, and there was really strong. Morocco transmit the solidity. Morocco doesn't concede a lot. Now I have 2 doubts with Morocco. First is the vertigo management, because now is a special game for Morocco against Spain. How there will be managed the emotion for that game. Spain have something more for that in the experience point of view. And after, the physical condition of Morocco, because Morocco play always with a really high intensity. And we saw in the second half against Canada, they suffer probably the only 45 minutes they suffer in the tournament. And the manager at the end of the game said, we suffer physically, we have some difficulties, and I have some problem with the injury, especially the fullback, Hakimi, Mazraoui. In the middle, he has some doubt with Amala. For that game, I saw goals. I think Morocco can be found space at the shoulder of the defensive line of Spain. They feel really comfortable, and Spain can be attacked in the last 30 meters with that type of play, with short pass, and Morocco will be suffer that. Over 1.75 goals, odds 1.52.
I had the feeling, I don't know, guys, if you agree with that, Alvaro, maybe that I had the feeling in this match, whoever scores first, it could decide many things because it could settle the nerves a little bit high if it's Morocco, the one scoring first for for Spain. Maybe some players starting to think what's happened with Japan. For Morocco, what Alain said, if Spain score first, all the emotions that are involved in this game can also play a part in the game. Do you think, Alvaro, that's important, something to look at, who scored first, to have an idea of how come the game could develop?
No, ti sentiamo.
We can't hear him.
I'm sorry, guys. You can
No,
hear
yes.
me now.
There you go.
Yes, I was saying that having a plan B is very important in this World Cup, and Spain doesn't have the plan B, in the sense that their plan B basically is to do variations of the plan A, but there is not a drastic change. In fact, Borja Iglesias, for example, stayed in Spain and would have offered that physicality that Spain needed against Japan, not only just to cross balls to him and put balls in the box so he could actually head them, but also to do the link-up game, the 1-2. We saw against Japan that it didn't matter who came onto the pitch. Spain didn't change dramatically. Fati, Asensio, the likes of Olmo, Sarabia, they are all more or less cut by the same pattern, even though Olmo right now looks at the best of all of them. But, I think that Spain won the World Cup in 2010 thanks to using as well Fernando Llorente against Portugal in the last 16 round. He didn't score, but he helped Spain a lot just setting up David Villa. And Spain doesn't have this option right now. So I agree with you, Leo. I think that whoever scores first is going to make a massive stride towards the quarterfinals. Yes, I agree with that.
Let's see some people commenting. Marcos in Morocco can upset Spain. Some people also looking at individual markets, like for example, 𝐜𝐵 to assist or to score. Do you guys have any
No.
in mind in regards of individual market here in this game?
Not at all.
It's
Not at all
been
here.
difficult. I think it's been difficult in a
Difficult.
tight game.
Yeah.
For Spain, probably Olmo has been one of the best players. You think to score or assist would be a good shout. Morocco looks more of a collective. I think it's difficult to pick one really. I mean, Hakimi to assist could be if Spain leaves them a bit, because Hakimi really pushes forward a lot, perhaps even more than what he does when he's at PSG with Morocco.
But I think Nesiri will have special motivation for that game.
Yes,
Yeah, as I said, Leo, I wouldn't back any individual market for this game.
Perfect. So those are the tips then for Morocco against Spain. So we have one more last 16 match to analyze, which is Portugal against Switzerland. Danny, Portugal, despite their historic success at youth level, which we all know, they have never made it to a final of a senior World Cup. With Switzerland, it's the first step towards that goal, let's say, for a great generation of players. We have the League of Nations as a preview for this one, if we want to use it. I don't know what's your view. Although I believe a little bit difficult to make a conclusion, because if I'm not wrong, in Lisbon was 4-0 for Portugal, and in Geneva was 1-0 for Switzerland. But I mentioned something when we did the show on the first fixture of the group of Brazil, Switzerland, Serbia, and Cameroon, that Switzerland has a know-how of how to get out of the group stage, and they showed it against Serbia. However, the history for them is difficult to see it the same way when it comes to last 16. The last time they managed to get out of the last in 1954. But can we see this time a Swiss team sending a shocker in a World Cup, in this case, in this instance, against Portugal?
Nobody, as Alain said before, wants to play against Switzerland. Since 6-7 years, they're one of the most difficult teams to play against, it, not just because they are well drilled and they have got good players, but also because they are very peculiar. They manage to adjust themselves to the level of the opposition. So they go up and down in the level, in the way they play, offensive, defensive, depending who they play against. Against Serbia, I would have never expected to see 4 goals in the first half, but the Swiss said, okay, you're going to attack us, we're going to attack you. If it's a more cagey game, like against Brazil that keeps all the ball, they can, retract and then hit on the counter. Against Cameroon as well, they can hit you and then set back. So they got different mentalities. They're very, very adaptable. I like the fact that against the Serb, Yakin knew there was going to be Serb going to attack, so he put Shaqiri from the start with Vargas, with Embolo, a more attacking-minded team, and he actually worked because he exploited the fact that the Serbians at the back, they are very, very bad, I would say. Some of the decisions they make individually, they're not great. Against this one, against Portugal, you could expect Portugal to have a lot of the ball and moving it. So what kind of Switzerland are we going to see? Are we going to see the Switzerland that soaks up the pressure and goes on the counter-attack, or they play a little bit more on the front foot? This is difficult. I think, yes, both teams have got the know-how, how to manage themselves in tight margins. Portugal perhaps slightly more experienced because they win in 2016, but the last few World Cups have been disappointing for them as well. Against Korea, I didn't like the way Portugal played at the end. They committed too many plays forward. On that goal, from the second goal, they had like 6 or 7 players jumping for the corners with the game on 1-1. I'm not sure that was a great tactic. Maybe they wanted to knock out Uruguay. I don't know, but it was strange. We don't know. I mean, you could tell it didn't matter too much for them after all. Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, Joao Felix should start. This one, I know a lot of Portuguese fans want Ronaldo not to start this one, so we'll see what Santos thinks about, because again, every game at this World Cup could be the last one for Ronaldo at a major tournament, so there is a little bit of added pressure there as well. I think the Swiss could score. This is a team that, as I said, they can raise the level depending who they play against. I like the both to score here. I mean, every odds here is great. I mean, even Portugal to win is great. But the both to score 2-0-2, potentially in a high-scoring game. So you might want to go even both to score and over 2.5. But yeah, both to score for me.
Alvaro, does it concern you, the Portugal defense so far in this World Cup? Against Ghana, they were very shaky. Cancelo and Ruben Diaz. Against Uruguay, I believe they wouldn't much under threat because Uruguay's decision, or Diego Alonso's decision, who was very, very conservative, and that was very painful for Uruguay. But again, with South Korea, and again, after being qualified and all that, we just been talking that sometimes it's difficult to play with when there's not much to play at, like in the first game against South Korea. But they haven't been very good at defense. Do you think that against Switzerland, this could play a big role? As Danny said, both teams to score are showing good odds here.
Both teams to score, I like it. What worries me is that in 2022, the Portuguese FA still resorts to Fernando Santos as a manager, considering the quality of Portuguese managers that we have in the world. I mean, there are many, and there are very good managers. And still, I think Fernando Santos his game is very negative as well. And Portugal probably has, if not the best squad in the World Cup, sorry to say this, probably the most complete, because they don't have any weak point, any at all. Everyone is good in every position. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And I think that they should be offering a little bit more. And for this game, I think that this is the game for surprises, really. I haven't picked any surprising result in the whole round of last 16. But here in particular, without having to commit to Switzerland qualifying, there is a plethora of odds that are very appealing for me, because I think that Switzerland is a very good side. And again, I don't need to commit to Switzerland qualifying, but I could go, for example, for a draw no bet for Switzerland in the first half. That pays 275, and I find it a hell of a bet here. So basically, the first half finishes with a bet, you get your money back. But if Switzerland wins the first half, you get 275. I like this one too. Both teams to score is very good as well, 205. But if you want to do something slightly more conservative for the first half than the draw no bet, you can go for an Asian handicap of 0.25 for Switzerland in the first half. This one is very good as well.
Well, actually, Alvaro, in the comments we have so far, people saying first half draw for
Yeah.
this game. So it could be a likely outcome as well. And actually, thinking about that, Alain, can you, I'm sorry, can you imagine, or do you think the way Switzerland played against Brazil in the second match of their group is something that is going to show us a little bit more how they are thinking of how to go into this game against Portugal?
Their need. The game of Brazil, Switzerland was worried only about the situation without the ball, to defend well, to stay really compact, to don't give space in between the line. But after the team was really shy in the offensive way, and 𝐬𝐭𝐴 said that 𝐬𝐭𝐴 changed a lot the mentality of Switzerland, because with Petkovic the team was more conservative. Now we saw a team with verticality. They try, and we saw that against Serbia. Against Serbia, Switzerland showed the improvement since 𝐬𝐭𝐴 is in the bench. 𝐬𝐭𝐴 in 15 months is brilliant. His results are brilliant, because he won against Spain, he won against Portugal, he drew both games against Italy, and he qualified the team. When Petkovic leave, I think nobody thinking about that type of results. Now against Portugal, historically, Switzerland suffered a lot. Portugal, the balance. I think Portugal is a team with that type of experience to manage the game. Portugal is comfortable without the ball. They have a lot of artists, but Santos give that register to the team. And if Switzerland can play a little offensive, I think in transition Portugal can make a lot of painful to Switzerland. In spite of that, I think is the 18th final more balanced this year in the World Cup, and I saw a X at the end of the 90 minutes, odds 3.46.
Okay, and for those who've been mentioning draw at halftime in this one, which I believe maybe is the most contested of all the last 16 games have, Portugal for the second half has an interesting also 2.38 as the maximum odds on Oddspedia. So to be honest, I believe the guys this 4 games now to be played Monday and Tuesday, they should set up the bar a little higher of what we have seen during the weekend. Do you agree that we should get better games now today, tomorrow? Who wants to jump?
I will do that. I think that the best is still to come, really. I will say 100% yes. And we show that Kylian Mbappe or Harry Kane, for example, were raising their game as well. And I expect many more to do the same.
Yeah, don't forget
right,
that
guys.
don't forget that historically, knockout stages of World Cup and Euros, historically we see games with few goals as we move on, because better defenses, better keeper, better tactics, etc. But if all the big players are in form, they seem to be, and obviously there is the question mark on Neymar, and Messi seems to have been in form now recently. Yeah, obviously you need to expect something more and some more exciting, of course.
Yes, the
right,
average
guys, so
of the goals in the.
Sorry, Alan. Sorry, yes, go for it.
No, I was said in the group stage the average of goal was really poor, but now we saw the quality, the rhythm, a lot of change, a lot of things are changed, and I expect goals too.
Okay, guys. So we have analyzed all the games for today and for tomorrow, the last games on these last 16 in this world. We have heard all tips and predictions. Let's move to a safe bet for these last 4 games. I will start with Alvaro, then with Alonso. Alvaro, what is your bet for in here?
Croatia to qualify, 153.
Nice.
My safe bet is Brazil to win against South Korea, 131.
My safe bet is Brazil Korea over 1.5 goals, odds 1.25.
Perfect. So those safe bets for Daniele and for Anne. And now something that for sure many are waiting, expecting, guys, is your ACCAs. Alvaro, what is your ACCA? What have you chosen for the last 4 games?
A little bit conservative this time. Croatia to qualify, Spain and Spain to win. Not more than that. Altogether, 247.
Not bad, 247. You, Danny, what's your ACCA?
For me, conservative as well, but all the 4 games, Croatia to qualify, Brazil win, Morocco, Spain over 1.5 goals, Portugal, Switzerland the same, over 1.5 goals, 388.
That's Daniel's. Then 388 ACCA, and yours are conservative like Daniel.
It's really risky, Mayaka.
See.
But Japan, Croatia over 1.75 goals, Brazil, Korea 1, 𝐿-𝐵𝐻 score in Morocco, Spain, and Portugal, Switzerland over 1.75, total 15.13.
I can see some people rubbing their hands if something like that finally happens, Alain. So we safe bets. We got ACCAs from all of you guys. And predict for these 4 games for today and tomorrow. Hopefully, we're gonna have very good games to watch, and hopefully as well, all the tips, predictions, safe bets, and ACCAs will make some people happy there who've been for sure commenting and expecting your tips, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So,
Bye.